What you're about to listen to is a Bry-Fy production.
Yo, it's Bry-Fy coming live through your Wi-Fi. One-man show, but I'm feeling like a sci-fi. Comic books, video games, catching them all. Pokemon cards stacked, yeah, I'm ready to brawl. From Marvel to DC, I break it all down. Nifty nerd news, got the geeky rundown. Pop culture hits, movies and shows. I stay in the know while the fandom grows. So plug in, tune up, press play, let's ride. This is the Bry-Fy, baby, welcome to the vibe.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Bry-Fy podcast. I'm your host, Bry-Fy, your pop culture guy, comics guy, card guy, just guy. Thank y'all for coming back. I'm exhausted, man. I don't know what y'all have been up to, but for the past, it's been 2 weeks now. We didn't have an episode last week because I was tired. And also, no, I wasn't. I was over my sickness by then. I was tired. And I'm even more tired this week, but I've put it off long enough. Gotta come with you guys, gotta come back, talk to y'all because it's been too long. But God, am I so tired. No, today we went to a water park here in Texas, near where I live, called Splashway, and it's a really cool park. It was really small back in the day when I was a kid, but I mean, it's still small, but it has gotten larger. Gets tons of visitors, and my mom and her husband were staying there at the RV park this weekend, and they said, hey, y'all should come hang out, and we'll be here the weekend, and y'all can come. My sister and her family came down from Houston. I say came out west from Houston. My stepbrother and stepsister all came with their families as well, and we all met up at the water park and had a really good time. I mean, we all kind of went our own ways when we were there, but it was nice meeting up, saying hi to everyone. We were all in one place, and then we went and just had a bunch of fun and spent maybe 4.5 hours out in the hot ass Texas sun. And being in the water doesn't help very much. Also, what doesn't help very much is I forgot to put on sunscreen. Made sure my wife and son had it on. Then I got hungry. And then I was like, after I ate, it's time to get in the water. At no point did it cross my mind, hey, you're old, Brian. You need to protect your skin. And now I'm feeling the pain. I can already feel it in my shoulders, my arms, my face. Definitely my face, my forehead, my cheeks. Oh, it's going to be bad. Thank God I am on my 7-day off period from work, so I won't be going into work until next Friday night. So that is 7 days to recover. I'll probably start the peeling process in the next 2 days. And I can tell it's going to be a bad one. I'm looking at my skin right now. It is very bad, and I don't know if you guys have ever had a bad sunburn, but I mean, it's not like I need to go to the hospital bad at all. It's like I immediately we got home and I went to Walgreens to get any type of aloe vera solution to place upon my lizard skin because it is at some point, the moisture is going to completely leave it and it's going to begin cracking and I will disintegrate as if Thanos snapped me away. So to combat the Thanos snap, I am going to put aloe lotion and any other liquidy substance on my body to keep me here, keep me alive, keep me around for my family. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. And other than that, just hanging out. I finally bought Halo Campaign Evolved. However, I did not buy the premium edition, so I can't play it right now. I have to wait till the 27th, I think, before I can play it. So it's just sitting there. I could spend another $20 to upgrade it to the premium edition, and then I could just play it now, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait because I got other things to do. I got games I can play. I'm still playing the Master Chief Collection, so I can play that and work on completing that. Right now I'm in let's see, I just beat Halo 3 and now I am in ODST. Like I could have gone and played Halo 4, but I really like Halo 3 ODST. In fact, the whole reason why I even started, it wasn't even for campaign evolved. That's not why I started playing the Master Chief Collection again. It was, I wanted to play ODST, in which I could have just gone straight to it, right? But then a little bit of me thought, well, I should play the anniversary and Master Chief, like, of Halo 1. Like, it's there, right? And I do know campaign evolved is coming out, like, so I should play it, right? And then I did. And then I was like, man, that was fun. And I really love certain parts about Halo 2. It's like where my brain went. So then I jumped over to Halo 2 and played a lot of that. And I was like, well, I mean, Halo 2 ends on such a cliffhanger. We might as well play Halo 3. And so then I jumped into Halo 3 and started playing it, and I loved it. And then at some point I was like, yay, I beat Halo 3. And my mom was like, wow, you've already beaten 3 games? And I said, yes, now you can play the game I've been wanting to play. And then she looked at me like I was insane. Because that's what happens when you're a man with ADD, is you have one thing in your brain, but then so many things just distract you, and now you have to handle those problems because those are now the more pertinent things until you can finally sure up everything that has popped up as a problem for you until you can get back to the original problem after you found all the solutions. If you watch Malcolm in the Middle, there's a great scene with the father, Hal, and how, like, I think it started with a light bulb or a shelf. I can't remember. It started something very simple, but then he was like, well, I need to go get this. And then this turned into, well, I need to fix that. And then that turned into, well, those things aren't working. And it just kind of snowballed until finally, I think it's like, what are you, like, he's taking the engine out of his car at one point. And the wife is like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm trying to change a light bulb. Like, that's how I felt trying to play Halo ODST. I just started playing all the other Halos. And now I'm there at ODST. And then I stopped playing. I'm going to pick it back up. We were doing things this weekend, so I wanted to do those things. And like, Halo ODST is hands down my favorite Halo game, and it's funny, I think it's because you don't play as Master Chief, but it's also such a different version of Halo, like when you play as multiple characters in this game, but like you are the rookie, like that's your main character that you play as, and he's doing more of an investigation than like outright with war with the Covenant and fighting brutes and things. Now you do fight brutes and grunts and jackals and things like that, but your main purpose as the rookie is to try to locate your team, and you're like finding these clues, and then those clues lead to like in-game flashbacks that you get to play as the other characters for. And so it's a lot of fun, you're piecing together a story, which I find just very amusing. I think it's really fun to do. And so that's why I've always really liked that game. Plus, the ODST look cool, man. You get silenced weapons, which is really cool. And it's probably my favorite version of the pistol in that game. And the SMG is also really awesome to use in that game. And it's a silenced SMG. So, like, it's got some of my, like, 2 of my favorite weapons are in this game. And it's just a really good story. I think as far as story goes, it's probably one of my favorite Halo stories. And so it's a blast, man. So ODST, if you haven't played it, get the Master Chief Collection and check it out. I think it's really worth your time. Anyway, I spent a lot of time just kind of chit-chatting with you guys. Let's get in to some nifty nerd news. All right, guys. So up first in the nifty nerd news, Nintendo and Pokemon are just having a hissy fit fighting against Power World and patents and things like that. In fact, now it's gotten so bad that the Japanese patent office is basically kind of pushing back. It's kind of like sassing them back for things. I think a lot of it is wording, like in this last iteration, it was patent number 2026-77713. The Pokemon Company or Nintendo used a lot of Pokemon names and words in this patent publication that they tried to make, and the patent office was kind of like, yeah, that's not gonna work. Instead of like using things like Pokemon, maybe you should use like an object in the form of a small animal, or maybe you, instead of using Ash, you should use a boy wearing a red cap, and like basically like saying, instead of using these names, you need to like describe these things, because a patent can't go just based off names. Like, you should not use Barry in your game, or you don't use I don't know, name Toyota Camry. I don't know, like it's just weird, I guess. But I think the patent office is onto something, because you need to describe those things, because how can you put a patent when you're just using a noun, like a name or something, like not a pronoun. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. A name. You need to describe the thing, so that way when the patent office looks, and I guess not just patent, but trademark and things like that, when they look at other things, you say, oh yeah, that is a small yellow mouse creature, which is very much like your small yellow mouse creature named Pikachu. That is an infringement on your copyright and your patent, things like that. Like that, is what they're kind of get at. But, a lot of people saw that coming from the patent office, and they were like, oh, snap. Like, oh, damn. Like, going crazy about it, right? Which I thought was kind of funny, though. And Nintendo is not really happy about it, They've actually filed a petition against their rejection of their patent, and it seems to be going successfully. So, like, now this patent rejection is pending for Pokemon against Power World ultimately. I mean, this isn't the big Power World legal battle that's going on. Like, not this patent is specific to Power World, but I mean, it plays a part, right? And so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be weird to see how this plays out, because it's looking like Japan and their law and their lawyers, and like just the law of Japan is starting to kind of get frustrated with Nintendo and Pokemon, because I mean, I don't know. I guess they're just getting tired of it. That's the best way I can describe it. They're just getting tired of all. It's like, a big Karen in your neighborhood, always yelling to the HOA president. Well, also, shout out to how much I hate HOAs. Thankfully, I don't have one, so I don't have to deal with that. But it's like a major Karen just going to the HOA president all the time, like, they're doing this, and they're doing that, and they can't do this, and they can't do that. And the HOA office is like, you just shut the front up. Like, just getting, like, ticked off now. Like, you know what? You're the problem. And ultimately, I almost kind of agree with that statement. I almost feel like Nintendo is starting to be the problem. And I think maybe it will be a good thing if they don't win any of these lawsuits against Power World, because now, arguably, Power World is a better game. Whether I choose to play it or not is a whole different story. I'm not a big fan, but I game recognizes game. I'm looking at Power World, and I look at people playing, and it's arguably a more detailed game. I guess that was the word I was trying to think of a word to describe it. There's way more to do. It's more in depth. The way it's interacting with its characters, and it's not Pokemon characters interact with you in the environment, is definitely way more in depth than what Pokemon has done with their characters. And so, I mean, this, like, failure here for Nintendo and Pokemon could only maybe help them become more successful later, because it would mean they would have to actually put effort into a game. I get it. Like, we play all the new Pokemon games because we love them and because Pokemon's been a part of our lives for so many years. But they're not, groundbreaking. Like, they're not earth shattering. They're not reinventing the wheel by any means. As much as I've loved a bunch of the games, Pokemon ZA definitely changed the way Pokemon battle, but Final Fantasy's been doing it that way for years, right? So like I said, Pokemon, they they really don't put any effort into things. They just put out the same slop that we're all used to, and it sells great because, well, the human mind is very childish, and it's a very simple thing. I like colors and I like sounds, and Pokemon does that for me. So they don't have to try hard, but they should. Anyway, moving on to the next bit of nifty nerd news. So people have been, and I say people, but some crazy Christian parents have been going crazy about the new Minions and Monsters movie that has been coming out. And I think I'm going to sneeze. So if I pause for a second and then you hear a very loud noise, that's because I turned away to sneeze. Anyway, so yeah, these ultra Christian conservatives are freaking out about Minions and Monsters because of some scenes that are happening in there that they have deemed either satanic or against God. And that is because Minions and Monsters is heavily influenced by H.P. Lovecraft, who, he pretty much has his own genre of horror called Lovecraftian horror. And one of the characters that they are trying to, or that they end up having in the movie, I don't know much about it. I just, it was like this little cute Cthulhu type character. And I guess because of the way they summon him in the movie, they use the Necronomicon, which is a forbidden spell book in Lovecraftian works. Not like, it's not a real thing, all right? Like, this is H.P. Lovecraft, who, writes books, and I don't know, it's just crazy. Like, people are freaking about everything, right? Like, crazy conservative Christians find just anything to deem satanic. I remember Pokemon cards was a huge thing back in the day. Like, I had a friend whose mother, like, got rid of all his Pokemon cards, and as I'm thinking about it now as an adult, like, that could potentially have been thousands of dollars worth of cards because they were demonic, because they had monsters inside them, because the cards held more than just ink. Like, it was crazy. And I think I even remember back then just kind of rolling my eyes, because I also believe his mother tried telling my mother that she should get rid of my cards, and I think my mom was kind of like, no, I've put way too much money into this. So like they were just always finding something, right? I'm sure Yu-Gi-Oh was at one point. Magic the Gathering, I don't know why more parents weren't upset about that, but I guess it's because I wasn't really around those circles back then. In fact, funny enough, I didn't even get into Magic the Gathering until I went to a Christian youth camp. And there was a guy there who played, and that's who taught me how to play. And that's how I got into Magic the Gathering and started playing a lot. In fact, I think I played more Magic the Gathering than I ever did play Pokemon. But I digress. Anyway, so yeah. I don't know what people are really thinking about Minions and Monsters. I've seen it. It looks cute. It looks really fun. And I'm really curious well, actually, I'm not really that curious, but like, this has made me curious about it, like how they're going to play into that and the mini Cthulhu character and things. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Oh, big yawn. Sorry, guys. It's like 11 o'clock at night as I'm recording this, and my arms are on fire. They are red. I look like a Slim Jim, is all I'm trying to say. And it's awful. What else was we going to talk about tonight? Oh, yeah, Sony. With things just keep getting worse and worse for Sony, man. So, they've really not backed down, but really tried to stand 10 toes down on their getting rid of physical media. And now they're facing a lawsuit of, what is he? Stitching Massachad and Consumant Q. Or no, Consumant. Sorry, that was not a Q. That's a magnifying glass. Have filed. So this company, a Dutch consumer group, has filed a $457 million lawsuit on behalf of 1.7 million Dutch PlayStation users, arguing that Sony's 30% PlayStation Store commission will inflate game prices once physical alternatives have disappeared. What does this mean? What is Sony's 30% PlayStation Store commission? Well, if you didn't know, if you sell a game on the PlayStation Store, Sony takes a 30% commission. It says, well, you sold that game, 30% of what you just sold belongs to us. So, much like tariffs, which is this kind of what this is, right? And if people don't know, tariff is when a governing body, or in this case Sony, charges a company extra money to sell things through their country or their store or things like that. And what typically happens, the game company that sells their game on there just gladly accepts the 30% and would never, ever, 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 ever make the user pay for that. Us, the gamer, pay for that. Totally wrong. Typically what happens is game studios increase the prices of their games, much like companies do with their products, to make us, you, the gamer, the consumer, cover that 30% commission or the tariff or whatever you want to call it in this case. I use tariff as a just a, a relevant example. Anyway, so yeah, there's been huge backlash from all of this. Basically, what they're saying is once physical games are gone forever, Sony now has total control of what games can be out there, because without the physical copies, there's really no resale market. There's no used games. There's no GameStop. There's no, well, obviously GameStop's going shit's creek. We don't have a Blockbuster, or we don't have we do have Redbox, but not like that Redbox. Gamefly, like those things that used to exist back in my day. I was like, anyone that's under the age of like 30 probably has no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah, there used to be stores, children, that would let you borrow games, and you pay a little fee to borrow the games for the weekend, and then you would bring it back. And so other people would then pay to borrow the games. But it allowed you to play a game at a much cheaper price than buying it. Anyway, so yeah, without physical discs, you can't have this. You can't have a resale market. You can't say, hey man, I beat Call of Duty and I know you wanted to play it. I'm done with it. Tell you what, give me $5 and it's yours. That's not going to be a thing anymore. GameStop, not going to be a thing with PlayStation anymore. And people are upset by that because that forces you to go through this PlayStation store with this 30% Sony tax, or Sony tariff, if you will, which is going to be passed on to you, the consumer, the gamer. I don't know, man. It's just, I don't like it. I don't like that companies are getting rid of physical media. It'd be different if they changed it up from a disc to something else, much like Nintendo has. I can't believe I'm giving props to Nintendo after shitting on them earlier. But like the cartridge that they use, and even then, I'm saying that, but I know there's some of their cartridges are just game keys and not actual cartridges. But at least the game key allows you to pass it between systems, because that's what I've done with games between me and my son. We're able to pass their actual game cartridges. They're not just game keys, but those are coming. But I'm able to move a game from my Switch to my son's Switch, and even electronically, like with games that I've downloaded, because we use the same profile. I'm able to move them between the Switches. You just have to move the quote unquote digital, or quote unquote move the digital game from one system to the next, because you're only allowed to play it on one system. So it tracks what system it's actually connected to, much like if it was a game cartridge. So if like Sony and Xbox and PC could adapt something like that, where you can transfer, I guess in this case, the game key to a different system or a different place, maybe that could be it, and that maybe that could guide the secondary game market, the resale market of selling game keys, so that others could still get that game and play it, and then you wouldn't have to worry about a disc being damaged, because that was always like the one thing, right? Is like you would get a game at Blockbuster that you really loved, or that you wanted to play or rent or whatever, and bring home, put it in your system, and it doesn't work. So you take it out, and it turns out there's tons of scratches on it, and like Blockbuster never changed it out, or they never charged the fool who scratched it up before you. And now guess what? It's your fault, because you took it home, and now you've seen the scratches, but they can't prove that you can't prove it was the guy before you, or Blockbuster did it, and now it's all your fault, and now you got to pay for that game. Or you just take it back, return it, and hope no one discovers it until the next sap opens up the game, and they're like, hey, there's scratches all over that, and now they're taking the brunt of and that's how games worked back in my day, people. I do remember one time, like an idiot, I had an Xbox 360. It was on my desk, laying down, nice. I was playing a game, and like in the middle of playing a game, for whatever stupid reason, I think this was my first like Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, because I did have to buy a second copy, I remember, and this is why. At some point, I was going in between levels, and it was like paused, and I was like, you know what? I want to put my Xbox upright and stick it like in a spot. Well, my little peanut brain didn't realize that the game disc would be spinning inside this console, and I think it uses like a little magnet to help hold it in place while it's doing that. Well, in my drunken youth, I wasn't actually drunk, I was just stupid. My stupid youth, picking up and rotating the 360 console did not work in my favor, and I ended up destroying my Call of Duty game and had to go buy a new one. And I was really upset by that. And then shortly after that, I got the Red Ring of Death on my Xbox. And I think on my YouTube channel, I have a video of me sending it in and getting it back. I'm going to have to go check that out. I wonder, it was probably a really crappily made video. But I do remember sending in my Xbox 360 that had the Red Ring of Death and getting, I'm pretty sure, just a refurbished one. I don't think they actually fixed anything. They just gave me another one, and it was like, here you go, have this one. I don't think I ever checked the serial codes, like the serial numbers on them. So like, I can't confirm if the one that I sent out was the same one I got back and they actually fixed it or not. I don't know. It's pretty crazy. And the last bit of nifty nerd news that we have for you today comes from one of my favorite comic book writers, Chip Zdarsky, man. And Chip Zdarsky has kind of softened his stance on variant covers. In fact, he used to have a pretty strong stance against them, or maybe not against variant covers, but people who buy variant covers exclusively just for having the variant cover, because a lot of people, collectors, scalpers if you will, would buy these variants not even to read the story, just to have the special artwork from a special artist, and really the rest of the paper kind of just goes to waste. And Chip has and had and still does have some animosity towards that because, like, think about it, you're printing all of these comics for like these variants, like these special, you're printing a full book, a full 22 pages of story, and all the people really want, because they've probably already bought the base comic, but now they want the variant comic, and they're not going to read this. They're going to put it in a frame, or they're going to put it in something, put it on a wall. They're going to put it in like a CGC slab or some type of, protection, and never open it ever again, man. And think about the number of trees that get chopped down in order to make these comic books, man. They make millions of comic books, hundreds of thousands of copies of comic books, and some of them are not even being read. Like, sadly, I look at my chest of drawers worth of comics just sitting in the corner, and I can't think of the last time I've pulled open any of these drawers to look through the comics, and it's kind of sad when I think about it. I should start reading some of my old comics again. Maybe I could talk about them on here. That's what we'll do. That's what we'll review next. This old comics that I have, and what do I think about them now? But probably the same thing that I used to think, and is that I love them. But anyway, so like, I mean, I get it. His stance has softened a bit because he's recognized that, the comics market does depend on the collector market, like there's money to be had with collectors, and that's kind of the point of it, and then someone was talking about, they work at a comic book shop. How do variants get to your comic book store, right? Do they just say, hey, I want 5 variants, please, and then Marvel or DC sends them 5 variants? No, that's not how that works, silly. Why would you think that, idiot? No. So typically the way a variant comic works, or how a comic book shop will get variant comics, is that they have to order X amount of books. Typically it's like for every 25 books, you'll get 1 variant cover, or they have variant covers for 50 in one or 100 in one. Like sometimes it's something crazy like that, dude. So comic book shops have to play a game. And that game is, do I realistically think I'm going to sell X amount of comic books in order to justify this 1 variant cover, right? Now, granted, in places like major cities like New York, Houston, Los Angeles, Chicago, like big cities. So I'm talking like your huge ones, right? Here in Texas, we have Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, like that. Yeah, you could probably get away with ordering 100, 200 of a comic book in a city of millions of people, where, yeah, you're probably going to be able to sell 200 comic books and get you a couple of variant covers. But in place like a small town like mine, with like a population of maybe 17, 18,000 people, if I had a shop here, do I realistically think I would sell 200 copies of Superman or Spider-Man? Yes, those are major characters, but how many people realistically out of 18,000 read comic books? And also not just read comic books, but read paper comic books, because there's also digital ones out there, right? So is it really worth that? Like ordering all those books, because you have to pay for those books. Like, that's how it works. They order the books, pay for what they've ordered, and then resell, essentially, or sell that product, right? You buy the product from a distributor, and then you sell that product to consumers, and hopefully you cover your costs, right? Or at least cover your cost and net some income with that. So there's a lot of decisions to be made. Now, that being said, variants can sell for more money, right? So now you maybe play this game in your head with, like, look, I might, it takes 50 comics to get this variant, but this variant may well be worth 25 of the normal comic, right? So yeah, I could probably sell 25 of the regular one, and this 150 will cover the cost of my other 25. So making the total 50, and maybe I sell some of those books. So, maybe I get a little bit kickback because I was able to sell some of these extra books, or maybe not. Now I'm just holding on to dead inventory. And what am I going to do with that? Because that's just going to take up space. And then I'm going to lose room when I need to order more comic books. So you can kind of see where it gets a little weird. And then like these companies and these comic shops are now just holding on to a bunch of shit, and they either have to give it away for Halloween or free comic book day, or hope that some sap who has FOMO comes and picks up that book, right? Sometimes you get lucky with that, but not always. So yeah, man, like I kind of agree with Chip Zdarsky originally. Like sometimes I feel like the variant comic covers is kind of just a waste. Because in some ways I think it hurts comic book shops because, like I said, they have to order more product. So why not? And one of his suggestions was just release the variants as prints that like people could just buy straight from Marvel or something like that, or like posters. Like, like you go to a convention and they sell like 8x11 posters and stuff, and they're really cool. I got a bunch of them and I love them because they're a lot of fun. They're by some of my favorite artists and they're really cool drawings of characters that I really like. So why not just do that, Marvel? Why not just sell prints that now comic shops could pick up or order, and then they sell those to consumers? I don't know. Maybe there's not a real good solution to this, but it's like Chip said, like in his new rethought. Well, the collector's market is a part of the comic books market, and they help drive sales. So, there's that, whether we like it or not. And as someone who's into Pokemon, I really don't like collectors. I mean, yes, I am a collector, but okay, let me rephrase it. I don't like scalpers, people who are hoarding collections in order to resell at much higher prices to people who just want to have fun and collect for fun and just find their old cards and maybe enjoy a new card or two every now and then. And their son likes opening Pokemon packs, and they like opening Pokemon packs with their son. And then sometimes they like to stream it, because it's fun to stream things and let other people in on your life and what you do with the game. But now you can't do that because scalpers are buying all the cards. So now you got no cards to open and when you got nothing to open, you got nothing to stream. I guess I got to play video games. Fuck that. No. Anyway, so yeah, okay. I'm done. That was my rant for the day. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, that's it for the Nifty Nerd News, man. Stick around. I got one more. Actually, you know what? No break. Let's just roll right into it, man. We got one thing to talk about as a review. It's a book that I happened to pick up at Target, of all places. It is Spider-Man Fake Red, which is a manga of Spider-Man. It's drawn and written by Yusuke Osawa. I think that's how you say the name. And it is fascinating. Fascinating. This whole story is fascinating. How I found this book is fascinating. We were going to Galveston, Texas. Well, actually, we were going to Crystal Beach, which you can get to by either driving around Houston Bay or driving down to Galveston, taking a ferry across, and going to Crystal Island or Crystal Beach Island, whatever the hell it's called. But we wanted to go down there, and we were meeting some friends down there. But as we were waiting for some of the friends, we decided to stop at the Target in Galveston. And instead of just being a sad sack and looking at Pokemon cards, I decided to walk around the store and look at other things. And I came across the clearance aisle, which I love looking through the clearance aisle. I don't know if you guys are weird like me, but looking through the clearance aisle is fun because you never know what you're going to find. And under a bunch of books, I just happened to fumble through, I saw a book spine that looked really cool, had Marvel and Spider-Man on it, and then I saw the Fake Red, and I was like, what the hell is Fake Red? When I picked it up the way you're supposed to pick up a normal book in America, I was looking at the back of the book. What that means, if you don't read manga, is in Japan, they read from right to left, not left to right. So what would be the front of the book for you in America is actually the back of the book for people in Japan. Well, when they do manga translate to English, guess what? It's from right to left. So the front of the book is the back of the book. Or the back of the book is the front of the book. And you start from there. And so I found it. And I just kind of like, the cover looks pretty cool. I dug it. flip through a couple pages on the inside. Definitely manga inspired artwork. I mean, this is a Japanese guy who does it, and there were some characters in there that looked really cool who I thought I knew who they were. Turns out they are completely new characters, but I was so interested in the artwork and just kind of the idea of it. Plus, it was on clearance, so I only paid, I think, $8 for this, and it sells for 15, so getting it for just about half off. It was hard to say no. Like, it was really hard to just not get it because it was something new. And I've been looking for something new. And physical media. Love physical media. I don't know if you can hear it, but just such a lovely sound and the smell. Okay, that's kind of rank. That's probably been sitting in Target for a long time. It's been next to the ocean for way too long. No. But yeah, so I picked up Spider-Man Fake Red by Yosuke Asawa, and it's we're going to read the back for y'all. An awkward teenager puts on Spider-Man's suit, but quickly learns being a hero isn't all photo ops and social media likes. Yu's new high school is kind of awful. He's failing his classes and striking out socially. Everything changes when he finds one of Spider-Man's costumes abandoned in an alleyway. At first, it's fun to put on the costume and play hero, but when powerful enemies appear, Yu quickly realizes he's out of his element. Still, with the real Spider-Man nowhere to be found, the city needs someone to save it. And that's really a great description of this book, man. The main character of the story is actually not Spider-Man. Spider-Man is basically the main hero or idea, but it's much like it says. Something happens to Spider-Man where he takes off the suit. It's almost kind of like the Spider-Man No More storyline, but there's some other things happening. Basically, a whole lot's happening with Peter Parker that leads to him leaving the suit, which you kind of get into the book, but not too heavy because this is not really his story. This is more, like I said, about you, and not you, but the character you. And this is not a terrible joke, trust me. He ends up finding the suit and putting it on, and while wearing the suit, finds himself in a situation when he has to take on a criminal. And he awkwardly, successfully thwarts a crime that way. But of course, like I mentioned in the back of the book, or like the back of the book mentions, he's an awkward guy. Like he's not doing very well socially. He's just doesn't feel like he fits in, and he's not strong. Like, so he idolizes Spider-Man, like, wouldn't it be great if I was as cool as Spider-Man, as like quippy and strong and things like that. And then he finds him now with being or trying to be Spider-Man. He's a scared guy. Like, he doesn't typically get involved in things. In fact, like, it kind of starts with someone that he recognizes from school getting beat up, and he locks eyes. Like, he could save him. Like, he could at least do something. He might not be able to save him. Those bullies look big and he is small. But the character, it's so weird saying that. He makes eye contact with the friend and then just kind of, yeah, I'm going to turn around. And then the bullies get away, and you confronts the friend, or the friend confronts you. He's like, man, I'm sorry. Like, I saw you, but there was nothing I could do. And the friend's like, yeah, I know. Like, I wasn't expecting you to do anything anyway. Like, look at you. Look at you, you. You're awful. You're terrible. You're worthless. Like, the only way you would ever find worth is if a superhero outfit just happened to fall in your lap, and then you could pretend your way to be cool. But what are the odds of that happening? I haven't read any of this book. So he does get that. And through this newfound confidence, he meets a friend at the rock climbing gym he goes to. And this friend, who I thought was a Gwen Stacy character, who is not a Gwen Stacy. It's, what is her name? Emma. Emma is her name. And Emma's really cool. Emma likes to rock climb. Emma's strong. Emma's got a strong personality. And you basically idolizes her because he wishes he could be like her, wishes he could have like the confidence that she has and the friends that she has. And it turns out one day she finds herself in trouble and you has to do something to help save her. And she, through being saved by you, or in this case, Spider-Man, discovers that you is Spider-Man due to some injuries that they both happened to share, which she was like, wow, that's really weird. Yesterday or like this morning when I saw you, had nothing. But then after I got saved by Spider-Man, who got two specific cuts on his arm, which are oddly in the same place as your cuts on your arm, now you is much like the scene in Spider-Man when Norman Osborn sees Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker with injuries. And he's like, that's very interesting. How'd you get those scratches, you say? A bike incident, you say? Interesting. I'm a bit of a biker myself. No. But it's a good story, man. And then, so like I said, it does follow you as a character in his journey to try to really find courage within himself, and that, I think that's like the big thing of this story is it's not, it's really, and maybe that's why the character is you, is because it's you, really you. Now I'm talking to you listening to this, not the you in the story, but you. It could be anyone, Spider-Man is more than just a character. It's a belief. It's a thought. It's the courage that you have inside you of yourself to do the right thing, to have the responsibility, whether you have the power or not, in all honesty, but with great power, there must come with it great responsibility. But I don't know. It's just a really good story. You do get Peter Parker and all of his supporting cast. Well, maybe not all, but a lot of it. J. Jonah Jameson pops up in this. Aunt May is in here. MJ is there. You get some pretty interesting villains. Scorpion, I think, plays as one of the major roles here, but he's not the big bad. There is a big bad who is orchestrating everything, is the reason why Peter Parker is finding him in the predicament that he's in. And in fact, if you look, I'm actually looking on the cover now, the big bad is not on the cover, which is very interesting. He's hidden, so you can't tell. Venom shows up. Venom plays a major role in what's happening to Peter Parker. Who's the chick that does the streaming? Is it Trickster or something, who streams online? That's a fun character that you gets to interact with and really helps solidify his role, or his solidifies him as being not, I don't want to say the next Spider-Man, but filling in for Spider-Man, and Silk is in there, one of my other favorite characters. But it kind of makes sense that Silk would show up in a manga that about Spider-Man with like a American Asian character, because Silk herself is an Asian American character. So it makes a lot of sense that she would show up. Although there was a scene in here which I thought didn't fit too much canonically wise. And so, I mean, obviously, I don't think this is supposed to fit canonically within the Marvel Universe, but there is a spot where you is talking with Silk, who's Cindy Moon, and she's talking about her relationship with Peter Parker, like, because he asks, like, how do you know Peter? Like, why should I trust you with all this? And she's like, oh, we're like brother and sister. But if I remember correctly, when Cindy Moon makes her first appearance in Spider-Man in the Marvel Comics, she basically is trying to get it on with Peter. And I was like, oh my God. There is another scene in here which does harken back to that a little bit, where she kind of talks like, oh yeah, he is a very handsome man, and then she blushes, meaning, yeah, she is kind of attracted to him. But her to describe them as like brother and sister, that's some nasty brother and sister stuff. But then there's Japanese porn hentai, and there's incest hentai and things like that. So maybe, this is, no, I'm just, okay, I'm going off a weird tangent. Sorry, kids. You need to stop listening. If you don't remember, the show is not meant for children, okay? But yeah, so there was like only one thing canonically that I had an issue with, and it was that part. They didn't even have to do that. But then the kind of like backtrack it, like the next 2 pages where she, you could tell she obviously thinks Peter's handsome and maybe has a crush on him. Like, come on, guys, get your story straight. But like I said, ultimately though, like it's not about that, right? It's really about you and him, and finally coming up with the courage not only within himself to be himself, but then to confront Emma about his feelings towards her and explain things to her. And the answer that she gives back, I was not expecting. I was shocked even, and I loved it. It worked great. And it was probably one of the more Peter Parker moments of any character that I've seen, and I really loved it. And it was good though. It was a good ending. It was a good build on their relationship and came to a good point, and I like where it's going. Unfortunately, that's it for this book. There is no second book or anything. It's got how many chapters? I mean, it's a pretty thick story. It's got 14 chapters in it, over 290 pages, so probably close to 300 pages of graphic novel here. And I'm pretty sad, man, that there isn't more to it. This came out in 2023. And I looked online because I was curious, I was interested, and I wanted to know where I could find more. And it looks like I wasn't the only one. There were tons of people that really enjoyed Spider-Man Fake Red and really wanted more to it. And unfortunately, there just isn't. I guess it didn't sell as well as Marvel wanted it to, but man, did I really love this character. It would be really cool to have seen him pan out as, could have been something different, not just him just trying to always be Spider-Man. What was also cool about it was like some of the homages to Spider-Man comics and other comics that were in here. Also, you gets beat the fuck up throughout this book. I mean, he gets absolutely destroyed because guess what? He is not Peter Parker. He was not bitten by a radioactive spider. He is a real high school kid getting real jacked up by real villains, which is absolutely hilarious and funny. But despite all that, he still tries, man. Like I said, Venom plays a big role in why Peter Parker is not Spider-Maning around, and we do get to see that confrontation happen. We do get to see you step up and do such a Peter Parker thing to help bring Peter Parker back to his senses, and then the real villain of the story is revealed, which I don't want to spoil that for you because I want you to read this book. I want you to check it out and figure it and see it. I will say, if you're used to American comics, artwork's going to be a little weird for you. Or I don't want to say weird because it's actually really good. In fact, the pacing of it, how the characters move in the environment and the action scenes, actually really easy to follow. In fact, this is a really well drawn book, if I'm being honest with you. I really like it. It definitely has an anime manga feel to it, but it's not as chaotic action wise as some manga and some American comics get. It's really easy to follow, which I really enjoy, which I really like. And I think a lot of people out there would really like and enjoy the story. It's sad, really, that there's not more to it because I would really love more of this. I think this came out along the same time as the Deadpool manga, and of course the Deadpool manga did really well comparatively to this one. But yeah, that's really all that I got, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the episode. I'm actually shocked I've gone this long. Sorry about that. Can't believe I've gone. Talked to you guys for over 53 minutes, but here we are. Anywho, Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast, being a part of the show. If you have something you would like me to check out, let me know, man. I might pick it up, check it out. Who knows? I might find it in the clearance section of a Walmart or a Target and check it out. Like I said, man, I can't believe I found this in the clearance section. You should find it. It's probably on Amazon, if anything. It's a good book. I liked it. Actually, I think it's on Marvel Unlimited. I'm almost certain it is now on Marvel Unlimited. You can check it out there. But I'm so happy I found a physical copy. I love finding books. I love finding physical media because it's just so much fun to have. It's so great to put on a shelf and then talk about and share it with people. And that's kind of what the podcast is me. This is me sharing my books with you guys. Yay. That is all that I have, though, for this week, guys. So we will chat with y'all later, man. We'll see you guys next week. Bry-Fy out.